Welcome to the exercises for chapter 5. Let's start with exercise 1. Seems like a good exercise to begin with. This one is pretty straightforward. This is really just about indexing individual matrix elements. And I think one of the important messages from this exercise is to be cognizant of the difference between indexing in mathematics and indexing in Python. So indexing in mathematics is one based. So the first element in a row is called element one, whereas Python is zero based. So the first element in a row is called index zero. So it's a little confusing. It takes a little while to get used to. And honestly, even when you get used to it, it continues to be confusing and frustrating. I sometimes wonder how many little bugs have been introduced into human civilization due to zero-based indexing. But anyway, so the exercise is to create a 3 by 4 matrix using numbers that go from 0 to 11. So you start with an array of numbers from 0 to 11, and then you reshape that into a 3 by 4 matrix. And then basically, we just want to write some code to access individual elements from that matrix and then print out a message like this. So here we are in Python. Here you can see my solution. This is where I create the list of numbers, the array of numbers, and then here I reshape it. And then here, actually, before I print this message out, we can just have a quick look at this matrix here. So you can see it's numbers 0 through 11, and there's 3 rows and 4 columns, pretty straightforward. Okay, so now there's basically 2 ways to set up this matrix indexing. If we want to find the element in the second row and the 4th column, you can either set this up as Python indexing. So the number 1 actually corresponds to the second row, and the number 3 corresponds to the 4th column, and that's because we start counting with 0. Or we could set this up. This is approaching the problem from a Python perspective. We could also approach this from a math perspective, and we could say that we want the second row and the 4th column, but then we would actually need to subtract 1 from here, like this. Okay, and then I would need to get rid of these plus signs here as well. So I've already set the code up like this. So here, this is printing out the matrix element at index. So this is now referring to the mathematical index to 4, and that value is 7. And that we can confirm looking at this matrix here. So the second row and then the 4th column is the number 7. I guess the other purpose of this exercise is to remind you that when referring to matrix elements, you always use the row first and then the column. So here's the matrix, and then we index the rows, and then we index the columns. It always goes row columns. It never goes columns rows.